Good morning, guys. I hope you guys are all doing very, very well on this Thursday, April 16th, 2020. So let's go ahead and get started with today's lesson. Um, Yesterday we were talking about technology, and now we're going to talk about who is your favorite inventor. Now, all the technological advances that we have could not have been possible without someone inventing them, right? So I want you to think about who your favorite inventor is. Now, in my case, my favorite inventor is this guy who happens to be known as Alan Turing. Alan Turing made the first computer um, many, many years ago during World War II, and he made it so that he could decipher secret Nazi message codes during World War II. So he used the computer would listen into the messages and would decode them. Um, Not translate because, a lot of people knew German, but they would talk in code. So they would say random things that would mean some specific thing. And he was able to break that message to be able to read what the Nazis were going to do during the war. And that's how they were able to defeat the Nazis. They were able to figure out what their secret messages were. And this is what the first computer looked like. This really big thing is the first computer ever built by a person, and that person was Alan Turing. Now, you may not have an inventor in the top of your mind, but what I want you to do is think about something that you really like and then Google who invented this thing that I really like. So if you really like a Nintendo, you can write down who invented Nintendo and then in the comment section write down who your favorite inventor is and then tell me why. Like blank is my favorite inventor because he invented blank. Or if you like iPhones, who is the inventor of iPhones? And then you write down at the bottom, blank is my favorite inventor because this person invented. Okay, so please do write it down in the comment section below. I did want to shout out a couple of people who commented in the last video about technology. So Misty Ranger, I don't know who you are, Misty Ranger. Please let me know next time on your message. Like this is blank because I don't have a student named Misty Ranger. But Misty Ranger likes the Nintendo Switch and their phone. And Gustavo likes his cell phone and the TV. So thank you so much for sharing that with us. Please share an inventor tomorrow or today after you watch the video. All right, so talking about inventors, today we're going to talk about prototypes. Prototypes are initial models of the inventions created to perfect the invention. Whenever a inventor wants to invent something, they have to create a model first. They have to try to work it out first. Try to see if it works, try to see if it looks good, try to see if there's anything that they need to change. So a prototype is when they make it the first time to see what is it that they need to change. Now, prototypes have been around forever. Every time there's been an inventor, there has been a prototype that later becomes the final product. So, for example, this is a prototype of a water gun that we know as Super Soaker. This was the first prototype. They made it out of tubing and out of a clear plastic container so they can see everything going on. And then they perfected it by putting all this better looking color and making little changes to it. The Xbox, which is a first generation Xbox, which we know, its first prototype actually looked like this. It was supposed to be a big silver X. But then when they made it, a lot of people were complaining that it was too big, that it wasn't going to fit in their house, that it wasn't going to be able to go, next to the TV because they had small TV furniture holders and things like that. So they ended up changing it to this. So that's, a good example of a prototype that initially was almost completed, but then people started complaining about the size and how clunky it looks, so then they changed it into this. Other examples of prototypes include this first rendering of what later became the iPhone. This was the prototype for the first iPhone. This, which was a prototype for the Nintendo Switch. Um, and this that was a prototype for the iPad. So, as you can see, prototypes are in every product that we have come to enjoy. They make the model first to see if it works, to see how they can make it better, and then they change it into the final product. So, why are prototypes important? Well, they're very important because it helps the inventors finish their product. It helps them see what it will look like at first and then change anything that needs to be changed so that it looks better, so that it works better. Because scientists can make mistakes and it's okay. That's the job of a scientist, to make a mistake and then to correct it. So, scientists make a prototype and then they realize that they made a mistake in many little parts of the prototype, so then they change it to something better. And that's what happened with all of these prototypes. And prototypes are still around today. So there's current prototypes of things that are, going to be later in the future. So for example, right now they're working a lot on flexible phones. They want phones that can be flexible so that they don't easily break and so that they're more convenient to use. This is a prototype of motorcycles that can balance themselves now. So you don't fall off as easily, so you don't trip up as easily, and so that there's less accidents. Um, so this is a motorcycle prototype for the future. This is a prototype for a futuristic car that they want to create as well. And even then, this is a prototype for a flying car. This is what the flying car looks like. It's not actually flying because they don't allow that yet. But there are some prototypes of flying cars that actually fly out on YouTube if you want to check them out. Definitely check out some futuristic prototypes. And tomorrow you will be asked which is your favorite, so you can start doing that research early today. Okay? So, what do you need to do today? Well, you need to write a short paragraph on what is the importance of making a prototype before making the real thing. Is it okay for scientists to make a mistake and then explain? Your paragraph should have at least 3 sentences or more. All right? So, what should it look like? It should just be a little text, kind of like this. The importance of making a prototype is that, and then you keep writing the rest. All right? I was going to write the rest, but that will give some answers away, so I'd rather not do that. Instead, go ahead and complete it. Make sure it has at least 3 to 5 sentences. And then once you are done, send it over to me. All right. Thank you so much for all of you who have been sending your work. I really appreciate it. I hope you guys have a great rest of your Thursday and do your best. Forget the rest.